As we reported earlier, President Trump's nominee for U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, Mike Waltz, testified on Capitol Hill today. And if confirmed, Waltz would become President Trump's first UN ambassador of his second term. That role is currently being filled on an interim basis. The UN's founding charter says it was created to maintain peace and security, develop friendly relations around the globe, and achieve international cooperation. But Waltz claims the UN has strayed from those principles.
We should have one place in the world where everyone can talk, where China, Russia, Europe, the developing world can come together and resolve conflicts. But after 80 years, it's drifted from its core mission of peacemaking. I'm confident we can make the UN great again.
And Jonathan Wachtel joins us now. He is a global affairs analyst as well as a former senior policy advisor at the U.S. mission to the United Nations. Jonathan, thanks so much for being with us. This is a rather large question, but just given what you're hearing there, how much relevance do you believe the UN has in today's modern world?
In today's modern world, Nancy, it still has relevance, but the basic truth is that a lot of the decision making, certainly when you have a world power like the United States, takes place in Washington, D.C. So this is not to marginalize the importance of having the ability to engage with world leaders, as Mr. Waltz said, but truly the decision making happens down in the nation's capital.
And Jonathan, right now, there are major ongoing conflicts, and you name it, Ukraine, Gaza, Sudan. How does the UN try to fulfill its role as a peacemaker, and how much can the UN realistically accomplish on its own?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question. In fact, in the case of the United Nations, a billion-dollar question. The basic truth is that the Security Council, where you have the power center of the United Nations, is comprised of 15 ambassadors from 5 permanent members of the Security Council, the 5 victors of World War II, and that's China, France, Britain, the United States, and Russia. And really, they are the main players in deciding what to do because each of those nations has veto power, so they can kill any sort of attempt to get some sort of legislation, some sort of resolution passed. The other members are rotating members selected from their region in the world. And there's so much division in the world on these very flashpoints that we're looking at. You know, Russia sits as a permanent member of the Security Council. You cannot expect them to allow any sort of measure that would criticize Moscow to happen within the Security Council around what's happening in Ukraine. The United States, with its ally Israel, is constantly finding itself under pressure from China and Russia and other members of the Security Council in terms of policy around that issue. And then we have other big issues happening like Darfur, where about 150,000 people have died, and other conflicts happening in the world. And again, you have this division within the geopolitical reality of what the world is that makes the UN very dysfunctional at times.
Well, you know, the United States and the U.S. have been hand in hand since the very beginning. How influential is the U.S. in shaping what the UN can do at this point?
The United States has a lot of power. We're the biggest contributor to the United Nations. The actual headquarters are located in New York City, in called Turtles Bay. We have tremendous sway, and we can leverage that. Certainly, we don't have full power, and there are 193 member states of the United Nations. But given what we give to the United Nations to ensure that it functions and has a budget, we can do a lot.
All right, Jonathan Wachtel, we really appreciate it. Thanks so much for joining us.
Pleasure.